Plantar fasciitis.
Cut.
Cut.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, fine. That's how it feels though. But anyway. Plantar, you can shove it right up your itis. You like that one?
I said cut.
Okay, fine. Fine. Plantar fasciitis. That's what we're going to talk about today. Lots of people have been asking me all about plantar fasciitis. How do I fix it? I suffer severely from pain in my feet. Tell me more about it. What exercises can I do? Help, because it really feels like something's being shoved up your itis. Sorry, I had to get that in there. All right, let's break it down. Plantar, that is the sole of your foot. Bang, yes. Itis means inflammation, yeah. Fascia is a band of connective tissue. So plantar fasciitis basically means the webbing of, or the ligament, there's a ligament down there, or a webbing of connective tissue from the sole of the foot all the way through to the front of the foot. What happens is that ligament can become weak, it can degenerate over time, whether that's from a lot of standing around during the day, poor posture, weak muscles, pronation, and basically if that connective tissue wears out, you're gonna get some pain in your feet. But what I want to do today is not only talk about the feet and how we can fix those issues dealing with plantar fasciitis, but also a little bit about posture. So let me get into the posture side of things. If we're sitting down a lot during the day, what happens is our entire back starts to weaken because usually we're in a hunched position, and the entire front starts to tighten. So the pelvis gets in a little bit of a stuck position when we do stand up. Now I see it time and time again. About, I would say 80 to 90% of the population tend to have a shift in their pelvis, in a posterior shift, and then lean forward to kind of stretch these hip flexors out a little bit, and they stand like this, locking the knees out, pushing the hips forward, lots of pressure in the lower back. So most people who have plantar fasciitis also have lower back pain. Now, it has come to my knowledge that your feet are the direct reflection of your hips. So if you've got tight, immobile, weak feet, you're more likely to have tight, immobile, and painful hips, okay? Likewise, if your feet are nice and flexible and mobile and strong, and we want strong feet because they hold up our entire body weight, they are the foundational support of our body. If your feet are strong, but they're also flexible and mobile, this area is going to feel the same way too. So if you're standing like this all day long, have a look at the balls of my feet. Where do you think all of the pressure's going down? To the balls of my feet, which is going to wear out my fascia, which is going to give me plantar fasciitis. Okay, I've got to learn to switch my glutes on, get some freedom and mobility and strength and flexibility in my pelvis region, my anchor bone, to push me back into a neutral position, to have some freedom and to have a neutral weight-bearing load between my ball of my foot and my heel, not just the ball of the foot. And then you're going to free up a little bit of that tension through your feet. Your feet do a damn well good job every day, but do you do a good job to your feet? Yeah, probably not. Your feet don't want to be manicured, they want to be manipulated. They want to be strong, they want to be flexible. So I'm going to show you today some exercises that you can do, one, to help with plantar fasciitis, but two, to just generally help with standing up as a human being, with holding this foundation and this building that we live in day to day upright. Otherwise it'll collapse to the ground if your foundations are shit. So I've got two views going on here for you. You'll see this view, but you'll also see this view of my feet. Now let's talk a little bit about the feet. As we age, we start to lose our foundational support, which is our arch support of our foot. Our foot starts to roll in and collapse. I want you to stand in front of a mirror and have a look at your knees. Now, if your knees, the center of your knee tends to point in rather than align with your ankle, usually that means that you've lost a bit of that arch support and you are pronating in with your feet. This can be one reason why you have plantar fasciitis, because you're putting a lot of pressure every step off alignment. So your knees are getting the brunt of it, your feet are getting the brunt of it. One thing we have to concentrate on is strength training our own feet. This will, one, help with plantar fasciitis, but two, just help with support of hips and knees and just postural alignment or realignment. One of the best ways to do it is learn to lift your arch up. Physically learn to grip the floor and lift your arch up. Your feet are one of the most amazing things in the entire body. They have about 26 bones in them. They have about 30 joints in them and over 100 muscles. Now, what do we put on our feet every single day to make our muscles in our feet weak? Shoes. We put shoes on our feet, so therefore our feet aren't really doing what they're meant to do, which is get strong and discover the ground underneath us and send information to our brain through the central nervous system. So by wearing shoes on our feet, we're basically dulling down our central nervous system and making that whole structure poor in communication and strength and flexibility. So grip strength is one way that we can get a little bit more stronger. Then I want you to learn how to grip to the floor, lift your arch up and hold in a balanced position. Because if you are holding, I'm just going to turn this way to the camera, if you're holding and that happens, your foot falls flat to the ground, it means your foot isn't strong enough to hold up your entire body weight. Then we have a problem. So that's one thing I want you to practice. Another one I want you to do is place a resistance band around your feet. Bing. You're going to grip and pull the band apart. That's going to add a little bit more resistance, but also sort of teach you how to scissor those legs out. And then consciously during the day, instead of being flat-footed or rotating in at the ankle joint, I want you to kind of scissor the legs out so that your ankle and your arch of your foot rise. Then you know you're aligned a little bit better through the knee and the ankle. That always wants to be stacked, your knees and your ankles, so you don't have problems. So that's another exercise I want you to do. Good. Because we don't want weak connective tissue underneath. We want strong connective tissue, then you're not going to have that issue of poor support and pain. Now another one that I would like you to do is strength train your toes. Ankles, toes, calf muscles. So you can do a simple calf raise up and down here. You can walk up and down a mat on your toes like that and back on your toes. Perfect. And then try on your heels. Now if you've got plantar fasciitis, this isn't going to feel great. However, this pressure point right here on your heel is your sciatic pressure point. So that's with reflexology, the reflexology map or the reflexology of your foot. That deals with sciatic pain. So it's actually quite a nice one to massage. If it is too painful at the moment for you with plantar fasciitis, give it a miss. But you want to basically work all facets or aspects of your foot. Good. Another one that I want you to do is some toe push-ups. I learnt this from the boys at Move You. So this one's a really good one. You're going to find a chair. Sit flat on that chair. Next view. You're going to push up on the toes and then come back down. Push up and come back down. Push up and come back down. You can add a little bit more resistance here by pushing your elbows down on your knees. Push up, come back down. That's going to make it a whole lot harder for you to do. However, what you're doing each time you're pushing up is strength training all through the arch support here, making it strong enough to handle your body weight. Unfortunately, however much body weight you are carrying is going to depend on how much strain is going into that connective tissue. So weight has a lot to do with plantar fasciitis as well, but also that distribution of weight of how you are standing, whether it's just on the ball of your foot or whether you're standing equally heel and ball of your foot. Good, so that's another one that I want you to do. I like to say do this one on the toilet. Every time you sit on the toilet, you've got 20 toe push-ups, okay? So it could be 3 or 4 times a day depending on how many times you go to the toilet. Good. Another one I would like you to do is learn how to pick things up. Learn how to pick things up with your toes. Your toes are little fingers. They just need work and dexterity like your fingers do. So learn how to pick things up with your feet, which is going to strengthen the arch of your foot, but also encourage that central nervous system and wiring system to switch on a little bit better through mobility of your toes as well. Then I want you to get some stretch in. Now, this stretch I've found to be the most effective stretch for plantar fasciitis. Some people even say it gives them instant relief through that foot. At the end of the day, how many of you stretch your feet? Not many, if any. Not many, if any. Not many, if any. That's a song. What song is that? Anyway, let's have a look at the feet and how the feet move. That's all they do, all day long. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Especially if you go for a 10,000 step count every day when you're walking. So at the end of the day, we've got to stretch out the opposite way. It's like me doing 10,000 squats and then not stretching. 10,000 bicep curls and then not stretching. You're going to be sore and tight. So I want you to flip your toes over on the mat and get a really nice stretch. Feels good. If it's tight through the feet there, which 90% of people's are, then you're more likely to have a sore lower back and sore feet at the end of the day. So stretching out those feet is your number one for plantar fasciitis as well. So plantar fasciitis comes down to having weak muscles, a collapsed arch, poor posture, and damage to the ligament, okay? And all those things can be fixed and maintained if you add some strength into there, if you add some stretch into there, if you add some mobility into your toes. You can try and do a bit of a piano, little toe and every other toe after that. That's going to strengthen the arch, but also encourage that mobility of your toes. Another stretch I'd like you to do is find a door, some kind of frame that you can work on that has a bit of an edge to it that you can go past. I'm going to use my cupboard door here. You're going to slide your toes down the door or the frame and then bend into that door. Now, if that's not enough stretch for you, you can come beside the door. So that's where I feel that stretch because I've got pretty flexible feet. And that's going to be a really nice stretch out for that fascia underneath the foot there. You don't want too much stretch. I think you want more strength than stretch with plantar fasciitis because it is a degeneration of that ligament. So don't spend too much time stretching, although that feels like what it wants. A muscle wants strength. It wants to be long and strong. When it's long and strong, you get mobility, you get more range of motion. So if you add more strength into your feet, then you're going to notice a difference with the pain and eliminating that pain in your feet. So hopefully that fixes your plantar fasciitis, and just remember it doesn't just all happen from there, it happens with a lot of other things. So if you want to learn more about posture, mobility and realigning your body properly, then come along to my website www.elisedigiovanni.com. You will learn a lot about mobility, a lot about postural alignment and just fixing yourself so that you don't have aches and pains anywhere. That's the goal of life, I reckon. Thanks for watching. You can still shove it right up your artis, plantar fasciitis.
I said cut.